Apeksha, how do you think the social media is changing the behaviors of people now, specifically from the perspective of a gourmet brand like you?
I think social media has really helped accelerate the change in lifestyle for consumers, because a person sitting in a small town in Raipur or Bareilly or anywhere for that matter in India has access to the same content that a person sitting in a Delhi or a London would have, right? So you're watching the same content, and that kind of makes them, like, gives them an aspiration to eat those kind of products as well, or those kind of foods as well as at home, right? So I think
Mhm.
that's what has changed a lot in the last so many years.
So, Apeksha, as the customer segment from 2012 to now, right, is changing. There is a lot of Gen Z population which has started to come into workforce, which means now they have a earning capacity, they have a spending capacity as well. How is that impacting your brand? And brand like you, there are many more brands which are there in the retail segment who are into the food businesses. How do you think the Gen Z population is impacting the retail segment overall?
I think Gen Z is a lot more open to experimentation, and they're willing to kind of spend money to experience new things, right? So whether it's new products or new food, whatever, or travel. So I think for brands like ours, it's a good time, because as long as you are available or accessible to them, you can come in front of them.
Hmm.
They are willing to give it a shot. Of course, at the end of the day, your product or service has to be good, and only then they'll come back. But they are willing to give it a try, and I think they are a lot more like exposed to a lot of things in the world, and they would like to kind of try exotic things or unique things, right? And that's how it helps the brands like ours.
So while they are good in experimenting, the Gen Zs, as you rightly said, they're also very picky, right? Which means your brand has to speak for itself. The product has to be really good.
Yeah.
Um, how are you maintaining that product strength in your company? And what kind of repeatability are you seeing from this Gen Z population in your brand?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're much more picky, and also they're, because of social media, they're very quick to communicate, right, what they feel about your brand. So
Mhm.
it's very like, I mean, whether it's something good or bad, they do send a message. Unlike, say, people who are in their 40s or 50s, they don't take that much time to really connect with the brand, right? So that connection is there, and that helps as well for a brand,
Mhm.
right? So I think what we do is we take the feedback seriously. That's one thing. Whatever communication we get on our Instagram or WhatsApp, we use that, and ensure that we're listening to them. And in fact, that's how we kind of came up with our ketchup range. Because we were doing pasta and pizza sauce, and then some customers wrote to us that we are you're doing tomato based product. Why don't you make like a healthier ketchup as well? Because the ketchup in the market is all full of chemicals and hardly any natural taste, right? So that's how the idea came about for the ketchup, right? And also people write to us for something spicy, because people, they're like, do you have a hot sauce? And I think younger generation likes some chatpata and spicy food. So we take these kind of feedback into consideration when we are developing our products. And I think we maintain it by just ensuring that we don't compromise. In general, as a brand, our philosophy is to not compromise on the taste. So I think that I believe that for food products or even F&B, like even beverage, right, the taste is what matters in the end. No matter how good your packaging is, no matter how good your marketing communication is, or stories, a customer may try it once or twice, but they'll come back to you and become repeat customers only if they really like the taste, right? And you have to maintain that kind of quality and consistency, and make sure that you're giving the same taste to them again and again, year after year, right? And not
Yeah.
compromising. So I think that's something that we believe in, that not compromising on quality and taste, and making sure that every jar that you're putting out there has got that perfect balance of flavors.
See, customers have a lot of choices these days. We have, so it's your brand, the Gourmet Jar. There are many more brands out there. Then you also have some national brands which are by companies like HUL, uh, Maggie. Now, help me understand, how does the market competitiveness and the so much of customers is spoiled for choices now. How is this impacting the retail segment? How are the retailers and the brands reacting to it? How are you trying to cope up and become more sustainable with so much of noise around the consumer? How are you trying to get heard, and how are you trying to sustain your brand there?
I think, Sujay, I feel like competition is a good thing, right? Because even though yes, there is a lot of competition and a lot of new brands out there, younger brands which are doing the same thing. But I feel that, all of this helps in kind of expanding the market, right?
Mhm.
And I feel that the space that we are in, the condiment space, it's a growing market because people did not use these products as much, say, 5, 6 years back as they do now, especially like post COVID, right? People have realized that to create something, nice at home, you need to have these dips and spreads and condiments, which helps you, right? Everybody cannot make everything from scratch, right? So they kind of help you cook at home easily, right? So I think that market is also expanding, and I feel that with competition, like of course there are a lot of new brands, but I think distribution is something which we have as our strength. So there are a few things which distribution works for us. We've been in offline retail for the past 7, 8 years, and customers have seen us on shelves like year after year. And I think in this category, distribution matters, I think, sometimes more than the product itself, because like they say, jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai, right? So
Yeah.
if you're not available, like if say I'm out of stock on, say, a Swiggy or a Blinkit, customer will buy something else because they need it now, right?
Mhm.
So same thing for a retail shelf. Like if you're not available, say I was there and then today it's out of stock and it's not available on the shelf, then they'll end up buying something else or trying something else right now. So I think distribution is something which, because we've been there for a while and we have like a little first mover advantage. So distribution is something that we have as our strength, and we've been there for a while, and that helps. Secondly, of course, having, you don't compromise on the taste. Make sure that your product speaks for itself, right? And that kind of keeps the customer coming back. For the retail segment, I think it's a good time. I mean, for a consumer also, it's a very good time because they're spoiled for choice. And for retailers also, I think it's a good time for them because they are lots of brands trying to get onto their shelves, right? I mean, not just offline retailers, I would say even quick commerce. So they also have that advantage that they can choose which brand to keep and which not to keep, right? So it helps. I mean, it's a win-win, I think, that way. But for brands, it's more of a struggle because it is harder to get that distribution now, I feel, than it was, say, 6, 7, 10 years back, right? Because now there is a lot more competition and you have to kind of fight with other brands to get that space that you need.